Darling, look what I got. Our Kickass 2000 watt inverters turned up. We've got some freebies, don't know what they are, but we'll have a look at those in a minute. You want to look in there, I suppose?
You're right. Okay.
All right, that's our next job, eh?
Okay.
Well, here it is. Our new 2000 watt Kickass inverter has just arrived. And what do you want to do as soon as the thing turns up? You want to look inside. But before we go any further, came with a couple of freebies. I suspect these are torches, and they are. And they're pretty handy looking devices with a whole range of light outputs. That's not too bad. We didn't order those, they just turned up. So there's a bigger one there. So, without any further ado, let's have a look in here. Cut. Now we're going to stop again. Before we pull this apart, there's a reason we bought this, because we've got a mid-range Caravan that needed an upgrade in the power supply. We needed 240 to run our cameras and all that sort of stuff, and a CPAP machine because I have a bit of a breathing problem, and our little 400 watt wasn't doing it. We chose a mid-range one. This is about $500–600. It's 2000 watts, it'll power most things in the Caravan. It's of good quality, there's very few complaints. I haven't found any complaints about these things, and there's some features about it that I rather like, and I'll show you when we get into it. Okay, first of all, it's about 6.5 kilograms, so you need to think about the weights in your Caravan. We've just come back from a trip and we were 20 kilograms under, so we've been a bit less under if we'd had this, but the convenience. Comes with a little Kickass ad, but that's good, that's good. And we've got a manual, which is in, I've taken the liberty of having a look at it, and it's very easily readable. A box on the top, which contains some pretty substantial cables for delivering the power to it. They're very short run. We've taken the liberty of ordering some really thick ones because we've got about a 2 or 3 metre run to our van, so we've got cables as thick as your finger. They're lying in there now. They'll be installed tomorrow along with this by a professional. That's your power cable, so we won't be using those. There's a fuse in there. These things are internally fused. Let's get all the other stuff out. There's one thing about this thing that really excites me. It's got a dial on the front of it that tells you exactly how much power you're using and how much you're putting out, and it comes with a remote control panel, and that's the remote control panel. Everything you need to do to turn it on, to see how much it's using, how your batteries are shaping up and all that sort of stuff. There's one of those actually built into the machine. We're going to install it under a seat so it's out of the way, but there's a cable. It comes with a cable that's about 5 meters long, which you can install this up on the wall, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Put it on the wall and run this underneath the seat in the Caravan. So that's got both the ends out. That's a case for it. But this is the interesting bit. This is a pretty substantial piece of equipment. Let's dump that down there. Oh, we get a bit serious about where we put this. There we go. Take that off. It's well packaged. If you're going to get this delivered by mail or courier, this thing is substantially and well packaged. Now to get rid of this box, this plastic casing, and there it is. It's solid, it's metal, aluminium, with some sort of composite ends. There's your dial built in. We won't need to use that one, but you can. And we're just going to plug in the remote one and put it remotely on the wall so we can turn it off and on. We don't want to leave the thing running the whole time because that draws just a bit while they sit at idle. So we can turn it off and on from there. That's the feature that Trish and I liked. There's two 240 volt outlets. There's a switch that says it's a rocker switch. It'll tell you whether you're using 1 or 2 or it's off or on. I'll need to find out exactly more about that. There's a USB port, and at the other end, 2 rather giant fans to keep the thing cool. So we've set this up so that any air that comes in, we've put vents on either side of our boxing, but you'll see that tomorrow, and the fans draw from near the vents. And the substantial bolts at the end there where you can secure your power in from the 12 volts. The 240 volt part of this, because it's underneath the bed, we're going to have a 240 volt electrician take power from one of these and put it to a power point outside the seat boxing in the Caravan. And then there's going to be another cable which is going to allow us to put 240 volts all the way through the Caravan, so it comes out through all the 240 volt outlets. Not that we're going to use 2000 watts. All we need to do is charge the cameras, use my CPAP machine, charge all the phones, all that sort of stuff. Well, that's the unboxing, and if you could feel this thing, you'd be as impressed as I am. It weighs, like I said, the whole outfit weighs about 6 kilograms, but it's substantial, and I'm rather looking forward to having a thing installed in the van and testing it. And we'll report back to you on how well it went, eh? Catch you down the road somewhere. No, we'll catch you tomorrow. Well, good morning. This is the next stage of the installation of our Kickass 2000 watt inverter into our 20-foot van. You've heard of us talking about our little 20-foot Eden Caravan. Well, today's the day the inverter goes in there. The inverter draws its power from 2 batteries under there. I've already installed some cables. They're not terminated. I've run them up through the floor and in under the seat. Today a 12 volt Sparky is going to turn up and he's going to terminate those. He's going to find a little device in there called a shunt which measures the power that comes in and out of these batteries. He'll have to connect it to that and then connect it to the inverter. But let's go for a walk through the van and I'll show you what I've done so far so you can just get a bigger picture of what's going on. Up in through the front door. A bit awkward with this giant camera, but we'll make it work. Right, we're inside, and that's a shot down the length of our 20-foot Eden Caravan. Let's show you what we're using right now. I've got a little 300 watt inverter here that's powered through the switchboard. It's all it can do to power the few things we have. It will not run my laptop, but it does power my CPAP machine and a few other small things, but it's been handy. But now it's time to put this giant 2000 watt inverter, and this is where it's going, underneath the lounge chair in the dining room, and it's going to go in here, and I've mounted some boards along there. There's some cabling to come out from there. I've got the cables in there already. They're not terminated to the other end, but they'll be connected to the inverter which is mounted there. To keep it cool, we've enabled a supply of air. You can see I've got a vent over there, and there's another vent in the back there, and there's another one snookered around here somewhere. So the inverter's going to go in there. Well, here's my cabling install. You can see the cable has come up through a hole I've cut in the floor. I tell you what, that's a bit hard to do when it's your pride and joy, but we did it. I did the same thing when I put this diesel heater in. All works. You just seal them off properly. So that's got painted, that's sealed, and we'll put silicone on when the install's done. That cabling runs underneath there and comes out up here with the inverters to be installed, and the Sparky will connect onto that. Well, here's the finished job. The young fella's just gone. He didn't want to appear on camera, but he's done a very good job. The 2 batteries are reconnected with much heavier cabling. It's the same standard that we ran up to the inverter. It's all passed through the shunt, which goes up to the battery meter up above and indicates just how much current we've used and are using. And this is replaces the fuse. It's a circuit breaker. If the current draws too much, that just opens circuits, and we can reset it again without worrying about melted fuses. So that's this end of it. Now we'll take you inside and just show you. It's still a bit open in there, but we'll show you what's happening inside. Well, this is the result we've been looking for all day. The 12 volt Sparky has been. He's installed our Kickass 2000 watt inverter under the seat in the Caravan. We've run a cable with 240 out to a junction power box on the that's just tacked on there for the time being. The switch on the wall with the remote dial is installed, and we've tested it, and it all works. I've turned the toaster on, and it doesn't make much noise. You can only just hear the fans, and we've checked our battery meter, and we're drawing 75 amps at that. We've got 120, 30 amp hours spare, So we can run this thing for an hour and still be able to charge it back up the next day. Not that we're going to run a toaster for an hour, it's just for a couple of minutes if you need to do things. But mostly it's to charge our batteries and run our computers and all that sort of stuff. Well, there's the first phase of the install done. The second one is to get a 240 volt Sparky to wire so this 240 comes out all the points in the Caravan. But I'll report back to you when we do that. Anyway, thanks for watching along. Hope you've learned something from it. Enjoy yourself.
G'day and welcome back. Well, this little snippet sort of wraps up everything we've done so far. We did the consideration of what we'd want, the price we wanted to pay, how much we wanted to run with it, and now we've had it installed. We've done a test, and you can see some of the clips are running on the computer, which is being powered by the inverter under my seat. And I can tell it's running, and it's still got 12.5 volts in the battery, and there's 240 volts coming out, and I can't hear a thing. That fan is next to silent when the seat's back on it. So that's all we need to do at this stage. It's functional. The next thing is to take it out and test it to see how much life we can get out of it when we're actually using it in the field. Now, early in the piece I showed you a small torch. Well, this afternoon to do this shot I forgot to bring my movie light. Well, I cracked out the big one, the big torch that Carla gave me, and now it's acting as my movie light. So I'll bugger my lighting up a bit. That's the torch I'm running, now that light, and that's acting as my movie light. So that's a pretty practical gift. Now let's get the light right. So you can see that if you go and see the girls at Kickass, you'll get all the right advice. You'll probably get yourself a damn good machine that's going to suit you exactly, and you might even score a torch like that you can use. Anyway, until we've gone out and tested this in the next week or so, we're going to go bush in the Caravan, and then we'll report back to you just how the thing went in an extended trial. Catch you out there somewhere, eh? Cheers, see ya.